Oh, here it is. The first ever very early big board by Steve Smith here at 89. We're going to break down a couple of receivers halfway through. Well, maybe we're not halfway through, but partially the way through the NCAA seasons. And Steve, where are you right now?
I'm in
with Freddie and Jason.
Where I'm at, man. I'm out on the road. I was in New Orleans doing some things a couple of days ago, so now I'm out here on the West Coast looking at some things. You know, I'm looking at these guys and what they're doing. So you never know. I may be at a practice, get the opportunity to watch a game from a suite. And so just be on your P's and Q's, man. I'm out and about trying to get ready for the draft when the big board and our evaluations, but also here getting ready for the NFL season. So I get to see great players on Sunday. And now I try to find out how are these fantastic players on Saturday going to implement themselves to the next level.
Steve, I know a lot of people are looking at the 2027 draft with Jeremiah Smith and Mike Williams in there. But as I've talked to people around the NFL leading into this, one thing was told to me. I wasn't super excited about this class, but they have grown as this year has gone and gotten better as a group, and I'm excited to see how things continue. That's why we're doing this, one of the reasons why we're doing this, and we want to see where they're at here and then where they're going to be when we're evaluating them before the draft, which is our heyday right there. That's where Steve turns a lot of heads, baby, with all of our evaluations. So did you kind of see that, what you were seeing early, just as the group, before we get into each guy, what you were thinking at the beginning of the season and where they are now, maybe some of these players? Are they getting better?
I looked at these guys and been watching them, and one of the toughest things in watching college football is, you know, the roller coaster and up and down, right? How these guys are playing, how the offense is playing. Does or is this scheme going to work in the same way? And so I like what I'm seeing, but you know, I have to be extremely careful because I understand, especially right now, this early on, a lot of these guys that I'm watching from afar, I've never met them in my life. So I don't know them as a human being. I only know them as a football player. So whatever my opinion of those players are on their game, that's what they put on film, and I have access to in evaluating them. I don't watch highlights. I watch Catapult. And Catapult is like a higher version of All 22, and I'm looking at, there's no TV copy. It is just football plays. I can even narrow it down to where I only see the pass plays.
It's kind of nice.
So I can watch a whole game, like 70, 80 plays. I watch a whole game 46 minutes.
There it is. Okay. Well, listen, that's why we're not going to spend a ton of time on every single guy here. And this is part of, and you mentioned it, it's a process. Right now, where we stand to the end of the college football season is about the same amount of time from the end of the college football season to the draft. So we have a lot of time to evaluate, a lot of information to gather and get. But we wanted to put this out here so all of you have an idea of maybe who you want to watch on Saturdays, who you want to keep an eye on, and maybe some things that maybe you want to, you know, we can glean on you, that you can have the ability to go and kind of have in the back of your mind while you're watching these guys. Where do you want to start, Steve?
Well, the top two guys out of this group right now for me on paper that just flash. And I'm not saying that they cannot be leapfrogged, but I'm just saying when I look at their tape, I'm going, ooh, right? And so Tyson from Arizona State.
Gotten some text from you there. Jordyn Tyson, 6'1", 195 is kind of what he's listed now. Obviously, we'll get accurate measurements come combine, come pro day. But he has Hines Ward as his wide receiver coach.
Yes.
What kind of advantage is that to get yourself ready for the league?
A cheat code, because Hines was not known to be fast, but Hines understood how to run routes and the purpose and the why he's running routes. Right? This guy, Tyson, he was at Colorado as a freshman, and then midway through, he transferred. But man, when I'm watching this film, right? And I got to get my notes, my handwritten notes.
I love it.
He plays so well. The first question I had was, man, I need to look up his yak. I just need to look at that because every time you watch him, you're like, oh, whoa. And the biggest thing that I wrote in bold, he rarely takes the catch and falls down. I love the way he high points the football, but at times he does get a little high in his stance, right? The play against Texas Tech, ridiculous. And just smooth. He's a smooth route runner, but he makes it look effortless. I really like, and I think he will be high on some people's boards. But I think also, too, this is the part where people sometimes want to just nitpick. And when you're spending millions of dollars on players or a product, you want to make sure you're going to get your return on your investment. And I believe he puts you in a good position. If you are looking for a solid number 2 who can possibly take over as a number 1, or you're looking at enhancing your quarterback play by adding some good pieces, young talent around him, I believe you start off with Tyson.
Okay.
That's all I got for right now. We'll do a deep dive.
Of course.
As we go on.
Of course we will. And the same thing from my side of things. Because
when
I talk to people in the league,
Steve,
when I talk to people in the league, obviously they're kind of in the same boat as you right now, right? Like, I don't have all the information yet. I don't want to give you a ton of what I think. What I've seen so far is maybe this. But again, we got to talk later in the season, because also these guys that I talk to, they're like, well, I want you to have a good representation of my evaluation, right? Like, I don't have a ton yet. But what they're kind of saying is really good separator. Can use, this was an interesting one, has a sense of where other guys are on the field in terms of defenders and uses that in his favor in terms of finding some space. Good body control. Yep.
That's Spidey senses. He has that's what we call that FBI, football intelligence, right? When I talk about doing the math, he's able to calculate where and how. So great job. Thank you. I appreciate you getting that.
Yeah, no problem. There's a curiosity if he can be a 1. I don't think anybody's sold on that yet. I think they want to keep seeing him play. He is their passing offense. I mean, it is him. And so that actually stands out to some people where everybody knows you're getting the ball. Like, it's coming to you. There's a question, and I wanted to ask you this. Hands. Some guys said that he maybe fights it a little bit sometimes. How do you see the hands?
I do think he fights it because I feel like he attacks the football.
Okay.
All right. So sometimes
there's two sides to that.
Yeah, it's two. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. After the catch, this was because I love that you mentioned it. It was good, not great. I think you are right. It seems like they said, like, he can get downfield. He's going to fall forward. He's going to try to make a move. Are there a ton of yards after the catch? Maybe not. But, like, is he always going to get something else or something extra?
Yeah. So I think he's always going to get something extra.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
As a young player too, what can really happen is if you put him in a bad situation, you throw him one of those headache balls, then all of a sudden there is where guys have trauma, where guys start to think, because the last time this happened, I was looking up at the stars, right? And I was Batman.
Yep.
So, you got to be careful with that.
With Jordyn Tyson, Steve, before we move on, what would you want to see him improve on by the time the end of the year comes around that maybe gets you excited, scouts excited in terms of his game?
I need for him to use his hands a little bit more. Sometimes he does body catch a little bit, right? He'll go up high, point it, but with his chest sometimes. So this is just a former receiver talking. And I'm also talking in regards of I am not talking about guys catching the ball with their chest because I'm putting them down. I just remember when I was not sure of something, my go-to was body. So I'm talking from personal experience.
Yeah, and oftentimes, and you've seen him do it, you just want it to be more consistent. And
yes, because if he's not, that's what people are going to, that's one of the things they're going to say. Oh, he's a body catcher.
Got it. All right, next up we have Denzel Boston, no relation to David Boston. 6'4", 210 he's listed at, Steve. He's entering his 4th year, and he's kind of grown, a lot of people have said, in his time for sure. And there are definitely some players ahead of him before. So Washington's actually had some receivers, man, over the last couple of years.
Bro, you just made my skin crawl a little bit, because when you said that, you want to know what my note is? Plays like Rome did at Washington.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rome Odunze was there. Okay, what are we seeing outside of just plays like Rome? What have we seen from Denzel Boston so far?
Can track the ball, excellent. He's excellent at tracking the football. Understands how the wide receiver position works in this offense. He knows exactly who he is in this offense, and that's rare. But it's not as rare. He's a redshirt junior, so he understands. 6'4", 209 pounds in traffic. Give him a chance. He catches the ball with his hands in traffic. He's a heavy hands catcher. Like he throws them out there. Like it's almost like he has a backpack on. He just like, oh, right. And
with
so,
his hands?
Yes, with his hands, like over the shoulder is because he's so running and he's so jerky and quick that he just is all over. I'm telling you, he ran a route. It wasn't a crisp out route, but the way the route was run, he ran it with such confidence that it was like, well, it wasn't a point A to point B. It was Cadillac turn it, but he came back downhill to the quarterback. So for me, that goes off my alarm. He's willing to put himself between the defender and the ball. I love receivers who are willing to do that because you can trust those players. Right?
Yeah, it's interesting because I just want to jump in because I wanted to add this to what you're saying to give it some more context. Because when I'm looking here, there's excellent contested catches, knows how to body guys, and knows how to use his body. But then the part that you're saying with some of this, it was interesting to hear this, that like there's some interesting routes he runs for a bigger receiver.
Yeah.
What do you see in that? With you're talking about him kind of turning some of these things back to the ball, some of the stuff like that that he does for a bigger guy.
He gets in and out of his breaks fluidly, not a lot of hesitation, no drummer boy or, stumbling feet. And drummer boy is when you see a guy, he's all hands. It's like, I call that drummer, the little drummer with Christmas.
FAO Schwartz? Yeah. Over there at Harris? Harris? What's the one in London? Yeah.
Yeah, Harris.
Yeah. Okay. I got this, and I'm kind of curious. Versus man, really, really good.
Oh, excellent.
Versus zone, what do you see there?
Sometimes that has to do with coaching. That has to do with the responsibilities in the offense. Sometimes the disconnect with the guy running really good routes in zone and struggling in man, or running really good routes in man and struggling in zone. To me, that is the system they're in, the coaching. So it's a combination of things that may not be necessarily all his fault, but very rarely are any of these guys finished products
100%.
Anyway. So I would rather have what he needs to work on than have some of these other players on our list where I'm like, yo, this individual, he's a football player. I'm not sure if his talent will produce anything in the league, but with Boston, it will.
Okay. How about this? A little bit of finesse to his game for a bigger guy.
Definitely.
With his feet and things like that. Is that a good combination, I would think, to have?
That is a great combination. He's just a fluid route runner, and I really like what he brings to the table as a young wide receiver. And, I think this year's draft, because it's not stellar, the guys that people want, they're gonna gravitate to him. They're gonna latch on, and they're gonna try to get him. And the guys that fall normally in the third and fourth round, those guys are gonna slip down to the fifth and sixth. And we've talked about this where, the tier 2s and 3s fall into the drafted category.
Yeah.
Right. And the 1s and 2s fall into the 2nd and 3rd day category. And that's always a tough thing. You don't realize it till it happens.
Yeah, and it's all about how the draft matches up with your skill set. There might be a team that loves what you bring. The next couple teams, you don't fit what they really are looking for, and then it comes back around to that pick. But then they're also looking at another position, and they may like it's a million different ways that it plays into. Steve, one thing you want to see from Denzel Boston from now to when we evaluate him at the end of the season would be what? Like an improvement, some sort of skill set, some sort of aspect of his game that you're excited to maybe see if it develops or grows, or you'd like to see him grow within before we do these, by the time we do these at the end of the year before the draft.
He changes his pace in how he runs his routes, and sometimes that gives away the route. So I would love him to stay consistent with his game, with his speed in the route, and not build enough data to say when he comes off at this pace, these are the routes that he's running. When he comes off at this pace, get on your horse because he's about to run past you, right? Gotcha. So that's what I would love for him to switch up.
Steve, moving on to Chris Brazzell II from the University of Tennessee. This is a big guy. And when I talk to people, it is like he has the athleticism to be a first-round pick when you just see him on the football field. 6'5", 200 pounds is essentially what he is. Again, we'll get more accurate weights at the end of the season with pro days and the combine. CB2, as some people call him, obviously. It's a nice little nickname, right?
I like that.
I like the movie CB4, but remember that movie? Chris Rock?
CB4?
Yeah, Chris
with
Rock.
Chris Rock?
Chris Rock, yeah.
Oh, man. With the Jerry curls?
With the Jerry
curls.
Stop it. Chris Rock's acting career, Chris Rock's stand-up, two different kind of worlds there. Chris Brazzell, what do you see? Because obviously a lot of people say the athleticism and just the appearance of him jumps out at you as a first-round pick. But again, so far through this season is what?
Well, he's 6'5", and I like him.
That's big. That's
huge.
That's big.
Well, he's 6'5". I know teams are going to say they would like him to put on a little bit more weight. He is a 6'5", but he has almost like a basketball frame. So he's a little bit thinner, and nothing wrong with it. But it is, if you go across the middle in that one good time, somebody goes ahead and puts you to sleep. So he's very interested because he played at Tulane and transferred up. I think he did it the right way. Outside receiver. Man, through 8 weeks, he only has 2 drops. And that's very impressive, especially with what has transpired in Tennessee with their quarterback leaving, transferring to UCLA, right? And everything happening. Big frame with speed. Sometimes we get big guys, and they don't necessarily have the lightning speed. He has a 6'1", some of the young, fast guys, 5'10". He has like that 5'10" style of run where he can get after you. He can go, high points the ball, very creative versus the press. Body control is ridiculous. And the route that really sold me on him, and it's one of my favorite routes. He ran a comeback route versus Georgia. You need to see that, and that's all I need to see because that tells me that he understands how to run football routes. And it's especially important because Tennessee is getting that bad rep a little bit where they're a huge system team, right? And some people have said his comparison is Cedric Tillman. First of all, Cedric Tillman wasn't available as much as he would like to. Cedric Tillman was not as fast and fluid. Cedric Tillman was more big body. So I think that's some of my coworkers, right, or fellow media people have taken that, and I disagree on that because I do like Cedric Tillman. He was an ex, and I thought he would do well, and he started to do well, but he got injured with Cleveland. but he reminds me. I think he can be a Zeke because of his speed and his versatility.
Okay, I like that because it was funny you were talking about that. I had it on here in the notes from guys. He eats up a lot of turf, man. He can go,
Yeah.
for the way he is. He makes some catches look really easy at times, which gets you excited about the way he plays.
Yeah, almost too easy.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the way some of the guys were looking at him. And also, this is the one that I wanted to ask you about. They said, when they do bunches or stacks or things together with receivers, he's the guy in front, and he can get off really, really well.
That's called he's the point guy.
Okay.
And the point guy has to be able to release. You have to be able to know what you're doing releasing. So that in your book also tells you he's smart as well, because when you're in a bunch formation, traditionally bunch formations, when they're called out when the play is called out in the huddle, that also means that depending on the position he's playing, the responsibilities, and so one word can switch everything up. So I love that. Tells me off the bat that they are willing to give him a lot of responsibility, and he thrives in it, and they're giving him more and more.
I love that. So the one question that some guys have, and obviously this size makes people think it. I know it's early. Could he be A1 at some point in his career?
Listen, with Rose Sparks, you ain't never got to get ready because they allow you to stay ready. As you become older, hey, I'm older too. And I'm also single now. So being older and being single, there's a little bit of getting back on the scene and afraid that you won't be able to perform to your excellence. So I got an opportunity to make sure that I stay ready. Got to roll with me anytime the way it comes in. Ro does an excellent job of connecting you with a medical provider, and it comes straight to your door. No having to wait in line or to drive anywhere. You just sit at home, prepare, get ready, and then you can stay ready because Ro will be delivering straight to your door. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/89 to find out if prescription Ro Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/89 for $15 off the first order. Sparks is a compounded drug product. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. For safety information, go to ro.co/safety info.
Could he be A1 at some point in his career?
Yeah, I think
okay.
I believe he can be a number one, especially what he's already shown you. And he has those intangibles that you can't teach. He has speed. He has the size, and he has a framework where he can add a couple of more pounds. Here's the crazy part. 205, if he adds 5 pounds in the right way, man, that would do him a world of difference.
Yeah, and I have it here. Like, he doesn't mind going over the middle, but there's just a lot of guy there to hit. I mean, the zone is big.
Yeah.
All right, so one thing that CB2 you'd like to see in his game evolve, grow, an aspect of it by the time we do the evaluation at the end of the year is what?
A lot of people are going to point out he doesn't always show up in the run game. Sometimes he kind of takes some lows. Sometimes he doesn't engage, which that means you are now giving a tip off to the defense. You are now letting them know it's a run play because look how he's coming off the football. His engagement in the offense is based on if the ball is thrown, which means he gets an opportunity to catch it. So that's what I would like to see.
All right, Steve, next up, Antonio Williams out of Clemson, 5'11", 190. Average size playmaker, maybe route runner, all three levels. What do you see? Good off the line of scrimmage. These are some of the notes that I've gotten from guys in the league. What do you see so far in Antonio Williams out of Clemson?
It's rare. He's been at the same college all 4 years.
Let's give him a round of applause for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job.
Stay there in Death Valley.
He's played a little bit of special teams periodically. He is a slot receiver, which means you have to create some free access. He does have some smoothness to him, right? When you are primarily a slot receiver, you're able to wiggle in and out of routes no matter where they position you. Mm-hmm. But where he really thrives is in a slot. Now, the problem is he's 5'11", 190 pounds, which means he's probably 5'10", 180 pounds, 88 pounds. Mm-hmm. And he currently right now, he's already missed some games. He's banged up a little bit. So now that's already saying you got a limited wide receiver position. He can't play multiple positions. And what we may fear of him is actually happening. Is he gonna be durable, and can he take the pounding of playing in the slot against getting beat up with some of these linebackers like a Devin Lloyd, who can run as well, but he's outweighing them by 40 or 50 pounds. So intermediate, he's okay, but he plays 93% of his time he plays in the slot. Intermediate is okay. Where he really does his work is underneath, going to get the ball, giving them the ball in space. They do a really good job.
Okay. I got NFL separation type skills. Doesn't have a ton of tells in his routes. That's kind of what you were saying with how fluid he kind of is. Mm-hmm. Not a ton of tells. There's some curiosity about the catch radius. Might not be all that big with him.
They're going to have to measure to see, but it doesn't look like 6'2" wingspan.
Let's see what Antonio Williams measures out at. But Steve, what would you like to see him grow with by the time we do this evaluation at the end of the year?
Show that he has a catch radius, okay. Right? And it's not his fault, but man, if you're trying to get to the league, you got to show. Stay in the slot. Don't try to go out there and say, "Hey, I want to play outside." Keep doing what you're doing, but you got to stay healthy. Man, you got to stay healthy.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I like it. All right. Next up, Steve, we have Carnell Tate at Ohio State. You know I'm biased. Ohio State University. Maybe wide receiver university as well with Brian Hartline and everybody that's coming out. And I wanted to start off with Tate with this specific thing to Ohio State. He had to, like many guys before him, wait for his turn. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious what that has done, in your opinion, to these Ohio State receivers. He was not where we're evaluating him now before the start of this season. He thought he was going to have a role last year. Jeremiah Smith comes in, and it's Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith, and he has to wait another year. Now, he's making a lot of plays, really good at the sideline, but I'm kind of curious what your take is that these guys have had to kind of wait. They've had to block. They've had to do other things as receivers. And have you seen that benefit these guys at Ohio State when they have to wait their turn like Carnell Tate did until this year?
Well, kudos for Carnell Tate for waiting his turn and not jumping in the transfer portal because he wasn't getting what he felt he deserves. He was only just kind of sitting behind a freshman of the year. A dynamic football player, one of the best players in college football.
And the guy that might win Rookie of the Year.
The guy might win Rookie of the Year in the league right now, Emeka Egbuka. So he does a really good job, man, deep and intermediate. That is his game.
Okay.
Right? Long strider, 17 yards per reception. 90% of his work is done outside. Man, he's a long strider, attacks the ball. Here's one for you. Okay. Here's my comparison.
Oh, I love this.
As soon as I saw him, I'm talking about ASAP.
6'3", 195, go.
A faster version of George Pickens.
Oh, I kind of see it a little bit. I see the build. I see the way they play, the way they play outside in space, the way they play by the sideline.
Yeah, on the sideline, he will go get the football just like George Pickens. No catches, uncatchable for him. The worst thing a cornerback can do is go ahead and get his man some space. You give him some space, he will eat up some cushion like Cookie Monster with a jar full of cookies. That is the worst thing you can do. The further the corner is off, the better the route seems to be. Which is normally, with young skilled players like this, the further the DB, the sloppier the route because they feel like, I could just run.
I got room. Yeah.
Yes, I got room. So he's doing a really good job. So that was the first thing that popped up in my head, and I was like, bro. And so I had to write that down so I didn't forget it.
Yeah. I like it. There was I'm looking at a couple of notes here from guys. Obviously, I wanted to get as much information on Carnell Tate as possible.
Of course,
it doesn't seem, and I don't know if this is a negative or whatever, just the way he plays. Not overly twitchy or quick in where he's at, but he's very fluid in the way he operates. And then at the same time, maybe not the greatest athlete, but everything seems to work really, really well. If that makes sense. And can go up and get the ball. You saw that catch against Wisconsin. And over two guys in the end zone. I wanted to ask, how do you evaluate him if you're you or if you're an NFL team when you know the attention that Jeremiah Smith gets, the best player in the country?
Well,
how do you accurately make sure that this is what he's doing and obviously he's getting some favorable matchups by the way the other guy plays on the other side of the field?
Who's going to complain about a number 2 or number 3 wide receiver that's young who can actually just do their job?
Yeah, because he does block his ass off, honestly.
Yeah,
he's physical. Yeah,
he's improved. He keeps improving. He keeps showing there's not a lot of film on him.
Yeah.
But playing at Ohio State and seeing how all the guys before him, what they've done over the last couple of years with Hartline, not talking about discrediting Ted Ginn, Reggie Germany, all of these guys, David Boston, just saying this Ohio
Michael
State.
Jenkins? Oh,
yes, Michael. These Ohio State receivers are coming into the league extremely mature, know how to conduct themselves, and running the route tree in a way that's what you want to see out of your young guys. And I believe Tate falls right into that category.
Mm-hmm. I like it. He seems to pluck the ball too, Steve.
He's
a lot
a
of hands. A lot of he's a plucker. Okay, when we see this team continue through the second half of the season, and he's starting to get some attention now, and more eyeballs are actually over the last couple of weeks finding their way to Carnell Tate. What do you want to see with your eyeballs between now and the end of the season when we do our big evaluation of Carnell Tate? He'll get his own episode, just like everybody else.
I would love to see him really step up and show that he has the ability to do this against any top-tier corner, right? Not just, I'm playing the third because they put me in a slot a little bit, or I'm playing this guy. He's expanding his knowledge of the game, and Hartline is giving him more as he believes he can earn and will not have a mental error, or what we call a ME.
Yep, got it. Okay, perfect. Love it. Germie Bernard out of Alabama. Steve, I like this guy. He's different. 6'1", 210, it seems like, kind of built, compact. I don't know. He's different than some of the other guys we're doing in this video, honestly. What do you think of Germie Bernard so far?
The first thing I wrote down when I was watching this film, sneaky good. He doesn't wow you. You just kind of watch and you're going, okay. Yeah. And then he just catches the ball. Man, his spidey senses his spidey senses on the field really tells me he's very aware of where the defenders are, what the objection, am I getting the first down? Okay, I got the first down. Now can I get a little bit more? Mm-hmm. He's unique because he's been all over the place. He's been at, Michigan State, then he was at Washington, and then the last 2 years in Alabama. So what we're seeing is a combination of a young kid who's been around the world, the football world, and now he's finally applying some of the things that can help him raise his game, and that's exactly what is happening. He's not used as a deep threat. He is a intermediate marker. He will destroy you. It will be casually done, and you look up, and he'll have 5 or 6 first downs that you just didn't expect. Bernard plays 60% now outside, and almost 50% of his work was done in 2024 in the slot. So that tells me that he's advancing and he knows exactly how and why, and that's why his game is kind of really showing and evolving.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, they hand him the ball.
Yeah, they do. They had
out of the backfield.
And not out, spread out. Man, they can hand him the ball. He was lined up, like on the goal line.
Yeah.
And then it ran a sweep, and he was patient. let his blockers get out there, put his foot in the ground, went upfield. Just has a great, good sense of awareness.
Yeah, and what you're saying I love is because the notes here that I've been given is he's not going to blow anybody away at the combine. So don't get caught up in numbers, because what he is going to do is he has the ability to be very unselfish, but at the same time, when it comes his way, he knows how to make plays. He knows how to find space. It was interesting when I was going back and watching some highlights, and I'm not Steve Smith, but you see him in the middle of the field, and he has just a feel for, I should kind of settle here.
Like he catches it, like he'll catch it.
I'm going to make something happen with it.
Make something happen, and when he makes it happen, he puts his foot in the ground. He gives you like the AI crossover.
Oh,
he's like
greatest crossover of all time.
Best one.
Yeah, but yeah. Remember Phil Jackson called him out? Michael. Remember that? AI's rookie year. He made him switch. And Allen gave him one, gave him another one. Oh, it was great. Also, really, really well put together in the middle field. He can take a hit. He's going to hold on to the football. You know, he can do some of the dirty work for you, too, as a receiver. What I was given is he would be an outstanding number 2 to a lot of teams, possibly. We'll see where he's at. Steve, what do you want to see from Germie Bernard at Alabama before the end of the season comes around and we do our evaluation?
People are already going to say, hey, he doesn't wow you. I just want to see him show and display his catchability in the deep ball. I want to see him become a deep threat, that so people can start to really move him up on the board and not take him down and say, hey, we need deep threats. We got enough possession guys. We don't need a guy like that. So that's the only thing I would love to see. He does a lot of his work, 10 to 19 yards, so that's intermediate. His ability to make it an explosive play after he gets the catch is excellent. But sometimes in these offenses, teams want instant results, and so becoming a deep threat is something I love him to improve on before the end of the season. Well, this is my first mid-season big board that we've done, and it's been pretty exciting. Gives me a head start, where usually I start about this time and I keep it all to myself, and then I have to start all over. But now, this just gives me a chance to look at guys where they're in comparison to each other, but then now we get to bring it all back together at the end of the season. So we're looking at guys through week 8, 9, and then all of a sudden, after the season, man, is a guy able to move up or move down? And we get the opportunity now by doing this to tell you why.
I love it.